Hello, Lorraine.
Hey Paul, how are you doing?
Yes, very good. Yourself?
Yeah, good actually. Yeah, I think after sort of getting into a good routine, things are not quite so overwhelming.
Good to hear. I'm liking the branding in the shop.
Yeah, this is my banner. I thought I'd get it into the shop.
Excellent. So the people that don't know you, if you'd like to sort of briefly mention your business and what you do, really, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I'm Lorraine. My business is called You'll Know When You Get There, and the reason I called it that purely was because it's all about life or business transformation and that moment epiphany when you go, aha, I'm there. So I help people with a journey. I'm a bit of a life navigator or a business navigator. So it's really helping people to understand their vision, their purpose, their passion, what really drives them, what's important in their life or in their business, and working out then the how. So once we get that clarity from the start, that kind of really helps. So in other words, I'm a life and a business coach, but I like the terminology of a navigator. So I'm kind of helping you to navigate to wherever you want to go.
Excellent. So I guess it's a bit like I imagine like a ball of string that's all tangled up, and you help people to untangle that and redirect
Yeah.
it where they want to go.
Yeah, so generally speaking, from a life perspective, you have the answers. So what I'm doing to do is to kind of facilitate getting that out of your unconscious. So yeah, very much untangling, and just sometimes reprogramming. Sometimes we have self-sabotaging thoughts or inner critics that are kind of taking over, and we feel that we don't have the confidence or the willpower sometimes to kind of move us forward. So I'm kind of there to fine tune, reprogram, or help you to reprogram and take away some of those limiting things that are holding you back.
Excellent. Well, it sounds very rewarding, helping people. So the kind of people that you work with, does it have a big sort of range? Or?
It is a broad range. I would say that my main clientele is kind of at that midpoint in life. So they've kind of got to a certain age in their 40s and they've suddenly gone, is this what life is all about? And is there something else? What am I missing? They may have had sort of some trauma or a bit of a wake-up call that's triggered this. So it's kind of, yeah, it's very much I feel a little bit like I've lost my energy, I've lost my momentum, don't really know where my direction is. I may have had a really stressful job and I just don't want it anymore. Want a bit more, people call it work-life balance, but actually it's about having a life full of freedom to do what you want, when you want, with who you want. So it tends to be that 40 plus, but I have worked with, younger, and one guy who was 84. So
Wow. Okay.
it really does depend. And actually, people say to me, is it predominantly male or female? I'd probably say I work a lot with men. There's definitely a significant, I suppose, difference in mind shift probably over the last few years where men are okay to actually say, I want some help.
Yeah.
That stigma has definitely gone. But I also work with a lot of women too. But from a one-to-one perspective, I tend to work with a lot of men, but group settings tend to be more with women.
Yeah. Well, that's not. I think I can resonate with the men. Sort of the men obviously traditionally haven't, like you mentioned, haven't spoken so much or asked for help, which has been great to see. And I think myself, when you're in your 20s or when you're in your teenage years, you have no idea what's going on. When you're in your 20s, you think you should know, and you do a lot of growing up. And I know I did when I was in my 20s, maybe your first job, you're into your career. And then 30s, you kind of get a bit more confident, but I found that self-doubt setting. I'm kind of old enough, but not too old, but not too young. But for me, at sort of 40, I can sort of, there's that mixture of experiences and say things you've learned, things you've experienced, you've been on. So, it must be very rewarding to help those people that maybe reached a crossroads.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, I absolutely love helping people create breakthrough, and generally that always happens in the first session, purely because what's happened mainly is people have held on to all of their emotions,
Yeah.
and they've blocked it. and they've not dealt with whatever that trigger might have been. And so when they've allowed those emotions to come to the surface, it kind of almost, it's like opening the door. And so sometimes we, I suppose, have to go through an element of lots of challenges and lots of issues and lots of pain and lots of hurt in order to understand that actually, is there something better out there? Because I think if you've always had a good life, you probably never need a coach. But actually, when you've had lots of sort of issues and challenges, it makes you realize that there is something better. Surely there's something better. I think if you've had a lot of it, you then doubt it. So I think it depends on what journey that person has had. And, you know, I think for sort of, especially for myself, where I've kind of lived a life of being quite controlled and almost living someone else's life, I'm sort of able to help a lot of people that feel similar or the same.
Yeah.
You know, where, you know, almost this other person has decided that they're going to take control and tell you how to live your life. And so you kind of do doubt whether you actually have that leadership within you to be able to create the life that you want. And yeah, so it is different for every single person. Every client is different. And I think one of the things that I probably do a lot more different to a lot of coaches is there is not one tool, resource that I use with everyone. So I don't have a set of questions. I don't have, probably sounds a bit strange, but I don't have a framework, because what I do is I will tune in to the person that I'm with, and we work with that, and there, you know, it might even go back to their inner childhood, and we work on what feels right for that particular person. And some people will come to me and say, Lorraine, I know exactly what my problem is. And I go, okay, let's work with that. And it never is that problem. So what people think is the issue or the problem that's holding them back or moving them forward, you know, I can't use a framework or a process because it's not going to work. So I have to work very closely with sometimes not what the person is saying, but what they're not saying. So having that sixth sense is quite powerful, you know, body language, but even you can tune into their tone, you can tune into, you know, their whole physiology. So, you know, I can look at your tonality in your skin and notice the changes in that. I can look at your eyes, I can look at how you're breathing, and they're all telling me and building a picture. And so what I can do is you may say something and I'll say, let's touch on that just a little bit more. Yeah. Because there's something else going on there. And so it's, you know, what you're doing is you're picking and then you'll go, oh, and you can see the shift in people, because suddenly that blockage, which they weren't even aware because it had gone down into the deep well, I call it, of their unconscious, that it's just come up. So you have to get people into a very relaxed state, because otherwise, if they're in an emotional state, they're not going to be able to create a breakthrough. And then you use what you feel is right to get that person to a place of breakthrough. But when it happens, I just, that for me, it's just the icing on the cake or the cherry on the top. That's why I do what I do. I love it.
Yeah, and it comes through your passion for what you do. And I'm listening to what you're saying, and I myself had, you know, we've all got things that have happened in the past, and I had something which I worked with a coach with, and it was just unlocked lots of doors and helped me to grow in myself, where something happened many years ago, quite a tough time for myself in my sort of teens. And it wasn't until I spoke to someone that does similar to what you do, and they said, well, how did that make you feel? And I went through the journey of how it made me feel, and they said, well, how do you think it made them feel? Oh, I've never really thought about that, because I always thought about me. And it wasn't until I thought about how it affected them that it kind of healed that, and I grew from it. So what you're saying about it involves a lot of honesty, a lot of trust, and you getting to know that person to unpick those to help people grow. So
yeah, definitely. I think one of the key things, you know, I always have a free discovery call with every single person that wants coaching, because the rapport has to work. You know, I need to have the rapport with the client, and the client needs to have rapport with me. So you've got to have that right level of relationship in order to create this openness. Because what that person is doing is allowing all their vulnerabilities to show.
Yeah.
And for some people, you know, if they've never shown an emotion, they've never shown any sign of weakness, you know, in their world, or all these things that are holding them back, you know, if they're not with the right coach, it just won't happen.
Yeah, and you mentioned the right coach, and it's finding somebody that you're in tune with and hit that off. That relationship is really key, isn't it? And I was going to ask you, following up from that, so obviously at the moment you're not able to see people face to face or in these groups. So what are you doing at the moment, adapting your business to sort of suit what the situation is right now?
So for the first couple of weeks, I actually just went, because all my business, literally whole business, I only actually launched my business in September last year. February was my kind of best month, because I was doing face-to-face coaching plus workshops plus speaking. So actually I just kind of went, oh no, my business is going to fail, because I didn't have any knowledge in the digital arena. I actually didn't like doing this. So I've had to adapt to everything to be on a virtual platform. So I've even changed in LinkedIn. I've actually changed myself to become a virtual coach, virtual speaker, etc. So creating that mindset was the first thing I needed to adapt. And I think that's where some people go wrong, is they go, well, I know I need to do that, but I can't get there. So the first almost tip that I'll give away now, actually, because is you've got to be in the right mindset. So I need to be a virtual coach, so I am. So I put out to the world, I'm a virtual coach, and that helped me to understand what it is then I need to do. So I then reached out to people that I knew had this knowledge. So, you know, people that have already traveled this road or on this journey, are experts in their field. Show me, please. You know, so I now do Zoom coaching online. We can use Skype. If some people, because again, a lot of people fear looking at themselves, so we can just pick up on the phone. Good old fashioned BT. It's good to talk. Shouldn't do advertising. So that's one thing. The other thing I'm working on behind the scenes is I'm actually learning how to get online courses. So there will be a platform, hopefully by the 1st of June, fingers crossed, with an online presence of courses. But one of the things I didn't want to do was, I could have quite easily just put a mass of courses out, because my background is, you know, emotional intelligence, time management, all those courses that you can get. But there's already a wealth of that out there. So I want to have a point of difference. So I'm creating a brand new transformation program that will be available online. Yeah, it's a mammoth task, but it's exciting. It's given me, I suppose, the energy and my worth, but actually I don't want to just sit back and not do anything during this transition period. But I also need to prepare for this new world, because, you know, I think some people are saying, oh, it will soon go back to normal. It won't. It will be a version of. And, you know, so I think it's preparing your mindset, but also preparing what that new world might look like. And, you know, one of the lessons I've learned is you cannot have a business that doesn't have all types of models, you know, physical and, you know, the online needs to be there. So I think it's been a bit of a wake-up call for me, to be honest.
Excellent. I think for a lot of people speaking to them, it's seeing those opportunities and those blessings in disguise. You know, so you mentioned about going online and evolving that. Now you've opened up now from, you know, it's a worldwide market where people that find you online, or that see what the talk shoot you're doing, or there's an opportunity there to find your tribe, that people that will, you know, gravitate towards you. I know myself from working the clients I do, I know a number of people that have launched online courses in various different packages. So I'd be more than happy to put you in touch with them to bounce some ideas off.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the opportunity is huge. I mean, in the last 4 weeks, I've connected with people all over the world. Never imagined or didn't know how that would ever happen in my business. And I always, I suppose, thought that I would have to wait until my daughter grew up for me to be able to travel globally. So it's just opened so many doors. And I've met some fantastic people that are going to, you know, help me, and I'll be able to help them back as well. So yeah, but any help in that arena would be very beneficial for me. Really appreciate that.
Brilliant. And I will put, say, links to yourself so people can ask you for tips and advice, get in touch, make contact. And I love the business name. You know, when you get there, it's very apt to that kind of journey. Great name, great brand. And it's so nice to catch up with you. And hopefully it will be very soon that we'll be back at some networking events catching up. And
yeah, definitely.
I've got a killer question at the end I ask people. So if you weren't a coach, if you weren't you know, what you do today and helping people, what do you think you would be doing different, or what were you told at school that you might have been when you grow up?
Well, actually, at school, I was told I should be an air hostess.
Okay, right.
So I'd probably be in the same predicament, wouldn't I? Because I wouldn't be doing that job either at the moment. I think there is, for me, I think there's a real element of travel. I love travel, but I don't think air hostess was really my passion or my thing. So I tend to talk to people about, have you found your thing? But I think it's quite interesting because it went from air hostess to beautician. And actually at the time I was quite tomboy, so I thought that was quite hilarious. And then when I did my college days, I then got a passion to be a PTA officer, which sometimes I do look back and think, oh, I wonder what path that would have took me on. But to be honest, Paul, I absolutely 100% love what I do. I don't feel like I work a day in my life. You know, I find what I do is so rewarding, and every day is a learn for me. You know, I learn from my clients. I learn because I need to keep up to be at the top of the game. But yeah, every day is so different, and I just want people to have that same feeling, like when they wake up in the morning, you know, the alarm clock is not what wakes them up, it's their passion. Yeah, that's what life's all about.
Brilliant. Well, that's a great way to end our chat today, and it's lovely to chat to you. And I'll pop some links to what you do, and people can read your story a bit more and the journey that you've been on. So we'll end with a high five if we can.
Yeah. High five.
There we go. High five. We'll keep safe and well, and I look forward to speaking to you soon, Lorraine.
You too as well. Thank you ever so much for your time today.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye.
Cheers.